I'm going to read from Dressings, which came out with materials last week. I'm going to read it in its entirety. It will take about 13 minutes. It's in poems of 9 lines and 9 syllables each line, as Laura mentioned. It's a form, I guess, popularised by Mendoza and then a little later by Peter Manson. And this is with Laurel and with Nat Raha as well, who's also been writing a lot of 9s. It's a pamphlet that started out with some dilettante research into wound care. Wound care became everything, and everything became wound care. There are lots of beds in this pamphlet. Some of them are wound beds, some of them are coal beds, and some of them are beds. Some of them are free. There's some Derbyshire, Leicestershire border slang in it. Tabs are your ears, tab hanging is eavesdropping, and arcing is listening. And one final reference, the wet team is a military euphemism for clandestine assassination, I guess. I'll just read straight through. Care is not organic, is it technology? The surgeon cuts a grid imprint in matter-like to graft lace the skin of the clavicle onto open ankle, like to hold porcine matrices up to the spotlight, to compose them plumb lattice to the open bed, so each grain promises to bind to another time. The blood that breaches out is only the hem, it is spontaneous, or conditions for transfer are not yet invited to settle into the dry ridges, the lips of an open breakdown, and skin refuses to slough its claim on the whole. Each moor is slammed without ornament, a stilled weather, each grain its husk in the cloven slats. Asks that skin be studied from distance, surface that repels and buffers or enfolds, carries the force of muscle into bright outward relay or homes in on shadows, the lit headlamp peels, effaces in study other flues. It is a hungry skin so raised up, abraded by tanners and without envoy or permit to pass through or morph. With no address, only dry rot or suspended aerosol, it is parched out hospital, bedside tinnitus, the cracks in the dust bowl, necrotic, ridged up with major dead colliery, but foster a breaching mouth unscabbed and aircon fellowship, or dressing for moisture to undermine whole malevolent surface manner of stitching. Full seam, stay here, hard light throws up conscripted turbines, each blade lint against sky, beige sea, the shingle's strange flora, blue as latent patchwork, fresh algae, hue under the still pane blemishes where seahorses gather ultrasound, or fall sick within bright cornflower, clamped abdomen out of home, dumbstruck, at the margin, high winds, teeth and knit. Phoning the audit, one taut pixel veers a needle point against full red of burgeoning autumn, defer stitches for open mouth as red lumen blaze enzymes, growth factors and hormones that seek company, tack through ingress. No sham network, this wild build-out. Fresh reds course through deep no-fly zones, fill their boots or hold one another. They need to get closer past the hem to other fluency. The Ceres exudate dews up from the site, discharges a convoy of stimulants to growth. Snail shells unwind and anvils ride their way out, efface social militia and late barracks drummers, then silent fencing, know enough, resew, then ornament, retching tissue. Orange segments and talcum I throw up against the sullied dovecots, peeling bars, cream grid I abdicate and call, and in violent wrongdoing then raise up slickly trauma from deep tissue, as cipher, as glistening welt, as gewgaw swaying as promise of our open speech medallion, the mediate stand-in red centre, the loose elim. Or, Orpnir, ridge hen, Algier, sten, Orpnir, or sten, Orria hen, Orpnir, hen, Orstony end, Algier, or sten, Ortomy, sten, to me throm, Algier, side tripsy, a hem, side of rear, Orpnir, Ortomy, Algier, rear, or. So many infants blunder across the dampened courtyard, trailing birdsong. What conditions today sharp descant need to speak, force hematic peerage out, what bespoke stencil, what narrow pathogen swarms enclosure bit OTT, poor front atomized stoma, or trenchfoot dormant mass of ragged giblets at work and wage hoard earrings. Sample fragments, are they on wet ops? Establish fibrin meshes, have they wet teams? Cut embargo, what's the point, man? And are they this, first in etching the cave walls, the alleys? Is this extraction vulnerable in the heat, no airs? Or are they here too, waiting to be unspared from bother inside the lip of the doorframe, very warm, disarmed? Open without tariff or quota, without value, without nerve damage, brain damage, without profit, out with wainscot inundating time, a cut-out ample medium that trills through off-label beyond torchlight and flare, beyond narrow photon lines that cramp, lesions make static this knit, these grains that dig themselves in, gather aggro. Rave address, unstow all evidence of puncture irreconcilable. No pilfering, tab-hanging pressure, also you are so fully dressed. Each pressing change draws attention to the wounded body part, engenders fear about the near future. Impaired mobility, lumen red meshing for grain, full candor or skin contact. Dogged outside trash, mutter incorporates more direct reference to appease hard body sequestered hard on the mattress now, or lemon gel through accumulated grease beneath the industrial oven. I am so sorry to address you mouthing work and grief chokehold, not knout unbridgeable hardness. Raised 3-day week intermittent light to deny gains of focus mobbing. How to understand withdrawal, this encampment, its leisure, its bruising settlement, but defer stitches still for sizing up, budding transfer, or the time left, what's left to hold, harried, tense cycle, hemmed in speech, scrutiny, bedside, duress, grey light, adore you. Arcing at the bedside, swallowed tune, what channels opened, what cuts, fostered without accrual, tabs off in distance, scene of damage, audit and shock, no, clotted in our mouths and camp wiring, canal side fences adumbrated. The early centuries, arms deep down, avoiding the draft of the coal face, enamoured by this bed, its alcove. Red grains teased up through all viable beds, viable troughs besides pores, samples, clips, coursing rough red parlour to die through. This adit drainage, this crush of ore to mass carp litter beneath our quick skirt of the open cast, this high volume matter flung out for settled patchwork, cast off orchids, abandoned drill muds, bespoke under brightening hardware. Logmore backdraft, shift work, the marked winding drum unfurls, spreads the access way by the lamp room, through the burgeoning red of cellared collapse, no exit, artery or folderol effort, feldspar of a lighted transfer knout at the brinked matter of shared winding, careless again, each hears its other through the overburden tending clots. Or private grits, lake dipped, pressed down, backdrafted, fire light robing, net lines, taut withdrawal, distilled waters dead, lake dipped, skin taut, pressure to alter, piercing kind, all or nothing unfigured wire, the knout bankside blanks, horizon, no emergence, no recession, no nodes, wind-blown relations and ash settling, patinaed through crumpled rock tints. But this is too little grating bud to cut fond into landfill, tear out fences, wind a fray through tall grasses, to rip out across serum that pools. Frog march to the base of the windmills as flint nappers die on the foreshore. Care in the wash, communal violet, breath practice, holding song on demand for speech to open up its aspect. Pictured a moment glistening jelly held in the body that drags its time into bother, or crushing, grinding, heat of the offcuts not wasted, these light residues litter the quarry, the beachhead, the open cast were wound back into the onward rolling drum to be clipped, harbouring damage and clip back rough courage dreamt in the fresh tree growth. Are you still there? Phone late, light away. Cannot untrammeled take your lead out with dead light splayed, indifferent plaster. Sure cloud cover, fine covered window, tight matter of sheet cover and parchment document. Aggress, covert, highlight, disclosure, facing lack, not carried, mesh up, build up, outward might to flip, mattress care, harried, flipped out, pressure. What is ample distance, unfigured inwards, you bed-clothed through other line, operator sluices, fastens, pause, cherry-picking, phone in, say something, pasture flattens beyond yellowing grasses, whipped up as movement again, buried final clamp lights, airless sample, ant bite stitched, raw streak bedlight by blind, slats immovable foam, I turn you, face grim, impacted fracture, I turn you over flesh to giving and tired in work, mouth, pardon, red eyes close up and hurried lineament, withdraw, bashful carping, unhoused, knee up, gain purchase, shift weight towards the board to stretch out, bicep beneath armpit, elbow to ribs, transdermal patches, blue algae, eye to eye, half open, clipped relief. Pressure on comms, infants clasping the rattle end, hyperalgesic you place imprints in wire, graining solid, private pushback and hum, soon to pass, muster at bedskirt, coarse ingots or tight assembly, sublingual relief, coursing gut chorus, group play, stomared, tight air clipped, tense fingers light singing, alcove babble, surest movement out. Thanks.